What's up, everybody? Destroy here. Welcome back to another cast of the Rise of the Witch King patch 2.2 version 6. Today we have a 1v1 on Forts of Isen II. Alright, let's get into it. We have our first player, CatchMeTun, which I believe is Bionicle or Caleb, whichever one he goes by. There's Isen there. So we'll just call him Catch Me, I guess, for this cast, to make it easy. And we have Nemozey is Goblins in the top left. Who, of course, Nemo. There we go. So yeah, I do tend to neglect 1v1 on my channel, so I figured I should do some more 1v1 casts, as that is where you actually see good strats and good players playing, so I think I'll start casting a few more 1v1s here and there. And we'll start with this one. So we have, of course, Goblins versus Isen. Looks like Goblins are going for a spider pit. So we'll see how that works for him. Starting with a spider pit is very curious indeed. And we have, of course, Catch Me going for a clan setting. That's what they're called. Like, what the hell is that building called? Clan setting. That would be the thing. So I imagine he's going to go Wildman of some kind. Perhaps he's getting his second furnace right there, or third furnace rather. He's got two already after, or before getting that. And Nemo has 3 farms right now. He's going for spiderlings. So we will have spiderlings against Wildmans. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. Is he going for Wildman or Wildman Axlers? He's going for Wildman start. Okay. Cool. Well, in theory, the spiderlings should destroy Wildman, as Wildmen are considered swordsmen. And, of course, spiderlings are default counter is swordsman and cavalry. So, there you go. And, of course, Wildmen are not very good swordsmen either. They're very weak armor. They should die fairly rapidly. To the spiderling start of Nemo. But we'll see. And it looks like he's moving across the board, and he's going to just avoid... Nope, he's not. So see what, one-on-one... It looks like the Wildmen are dropping, even with the War Chant. That's about what I expected. Yeah, it looks like he's not going to finish. Oh. He purchased Venom Sacks. Interesting. I don't know if Venom Sacks are necessarily needed to fight Wildman, but I guess in the future, any future units he goes to kill will be even more effective against. Very cool. And he's continuing to spam these. The Venom Sacks is only 100, so it's not that much. But the damage over time on the enemies could be pretty useful, for sure. Nemo's also put a tunnel over here. This is a popular spot to put a tunnel or a farm for a lot of players, especially ones with tunnels and mine shafts where they can get into the enemy base easily from there, and also secure the inn on that side also. It's pretty useful. And in come the spiderlings to do pretty good damage to the farm. They're very fast and they do decent damage. Not amazing, but nothing terrible either. And there goes the War Chant on the spiderlings. They should absolutely eat through those. He's continuing to get Wildman. He's got a second clan setting now, Catch Me does. And he's also going for Wildman Axors. So we'll see Axors and Wildmans versus Spiderlings. We'll see which is superior, I guess. So far, it seems like the Spiderlings are superior by far, but of course we haven't seen Axors in action here yet. Spiderlings themselves aren't too tanky either. They do die fairly rapidly, especially if the fortress starts shooting them. They will die very quickly. We do have Goblin Warriors now out for Nemo, who's got 2 Goblin Caves and his Spider Pit running amok there. He's also continuing to expand, of course, as you would, which is very good indeed. He's also attacking from here, which should be able to net him this, perhaps. But these Axors might make a difference. Looks like the Spiderlings have actually been cleaned up here. He could have ran those away and actually hidden the trees. Actually, both teams' units can hide in trees. Wildmen and Spiderlings both can hide in trees, which is kind of an interesting little tidbit. It could be abused, perhaps. Perhaps not. Wildman Axlors, of course, don't actually hide in trees. So, that's the thing. Which is curious, because Wildman Axlors are kind of the same. They're not, but... I mean, there is literally a Wildman Axlor model in the Wildman battalion. I guess the other guys are just too wild to stay hidden. Who knows? Or too wild not to stay hidden. Who knows? I have no idea what I'm talking about anymore. Anyway, we have Nemo sending spiderlings to the south. Of course, he's not going to be able to take the cave troll with that. And he has hidden them. The whole battalion doesn't have to be in the trees to actually hide, which is pretty handy. And also a little strange, but that's how it works, I guess. And it looks like CatchMe is going for an attack here on Nemo. And he should get that with ease with those wildmen. He's also moved north over here. This tunnel has gotten rid of, and now he is moving across the north with a lot of Axthors and wildmen. I think the Axthors are actually turning it around for him. Although there are still spiderlings in the back of his base harassing his farms, which of course is problematic. What is his name actually fully? CatchMeTun. I have no idea. Catch me tunneling? Hell if I know. Could be some kid slang, who knows. Could be something I'm entirely unaware of. Well, clearly is, actually. We do have 3 goblin caves now and a spider pit. Looks like he's going for spider riders now. We'll see how well that fares against the wildmen. It should do pretty well. 1 battalion of spider riders should be able to kill 1 battalion of wildmen with ease. If there's enough wildmen, they might get stuck though, who knows. And then they could be killed off a bit. So you gotta be a little bit careful. It's the plight any cavalry unit faces. If there's too many of one unit in one spot, if you trample in, you tend to get stuck. So you gotta be careful of that. If you have a couple battalions though, 2 or 3, you tend to push through a little easier. So it's always kind of better to go with 2 for a trample. But if there's 1 battalion, you should easily be able to take that. Ooh, look at that. No resistance whatsoever, except this 1 single man. Hopefully you finish him off before. Yeah, he managed to save that farm, very nice. Looks like the wildmen were victorious over here, and they're level 2 as well. So they will begin regenerating. There is a lot of goblin hordes on the way over there. But I think the spiderlings are definitely going to turn things around. So what CatchMe is doing here, he's going for the old Rook pit there. He's probably going to get some pikemen, I would imagine. That seems logical, but you never know. Maybe he won't. Although he'd be dumb not to go pikemen. He at least needs 1 battalion of pikemen to try and keep away from the spider riders, or else he's going to get crushed. Crushed hard. And indeed he is getting pikemen, because he's not garbage. Caleb is pretty good player. So he definitely knows what he's doing. But yeah, he's got a warg sentry back here, which is useful for defending this back area. If he doesn't want to have to send troops over here, his little wargs will do the trick. They'll go and attack anything that comes in radius, which is useful. They're not the most amazing things in the world, but they're not bad either. They're pretty useful, actually, I find. And they are underused, I think, by a lot of players. So I would definitely recommend throwing down a few of those for key spots to be help defended. But I don't know if, like, will these 3 be enough to kill 1 battalion of spider riders? I have no idea. Nemo's going to get a nice flank here, though. Hopefully he doesn't go too far in there. Ooh. He lost 1 or 2 spiders in there. Is it 2? So this trample, of course, decreases every time he loses a dude. There is Golem there as well. Of course, I don't think Golem's really going to play a factor in a 1v1 on Fords of Isen II. It's just not a thing that really happens very often. Especially between better players, they tend to just ignore the ring. Because why would you why would you even pretend to try and save up for 10,000 resources? Generally speaking, it's madness. That's only the kind of thing you'd most of the time go for in like a 3v3 or 4v4 Sauron or Galadriel. Both armies clashing here. Both throwing down the rally call, or war chant rather. Spider is trying to get a trample here, and I'm not convinced that was the best. We lost a lot of spider riders in that trample. There are a lot of 2 battalions of pikes in here now, which is going to make things increasingly more difficult. Even if he does kill a lot of wildmen, he's actually losing money in the process, because he loses his spider riders. They cost a lot more than those wildmen. 500 as opposed to wildmen's 150. So that is quite a big difference there. So I'm sure CatchMe is more than happy to exchange wildmen for spider riders, as you would expect. It's just going to be very, very cautious. And of course, if he gets down to like one spider rider, that battalion's basically useless. Even two or three, sometimes pretty much useless. They don't have enough spiders to charge through anymore, and they can be pretty much useless at that point unless you get banners or get them to level 2 somehow. I'm not sure what that was about. Perhaps they were auto-targeting those and just he walked back accidentally, but they did lose a spider for no reason there, which is unfortunate. And Nemo is going to pull them out. And it looks like Nemo has finally cleaned up CatchMe's army over here. And you begin pushing south through the ford there. Southeast, I guess. A 4th Goblin Cave has been thrown up there, and we don't have any more Spider Raiders on the way currently. Let's take a look at powers and such. Of course, we saw the Devastation being used by Isengard. We got War Chant as well, 4 power points, 400, let's say 508 of 700 command point limits. And Goblins, of course, got War Chants. They have 9 power points, 456 of 500. So he's got 700, he's got a 500 limit. Goblin's definitely not doing as well in the economy front as Isengard is, which is not going to bode well for him. Nice flank there by Nemo, though. Managed to get in there and get out without losing too many spiders, and also trampling a lot of wildmen and pikes. The pikes weren't facing him, so I think it was okay. He still takes damage, of course. And there's a wildman summon from Nemo. That should clean up a lot of the wildmen there. From CatchMe, of course. And now he's bringing out some more pikes. More wilds and more wilds. Just so many wilds. Although something is happening over here. Let's take a look. We have wildmen, Exors, and pikemen attacking Nemo's base. So some wildmen there. Also, wildmen can be upgraded, of course, with the torch upgrade, which makes them amazing against buildings. But it is quite an expensive upgrade to throw down on a $150 unit that dies very quickly. It'll boost their damage by a substantial amount, but they, of course, still die. They're basically glass cannons. So you gotta be careful. It's kind of like giving Goblin Warriors swords. Like, you don't really do that unless you can afford it. Just really afford it. Because Goblin Warriors have no life, and they just die. Plus the Goblin Battalion's what, like 100 now? Upgrades 250. I always find it funny when the upgrades are more expensive than the base unit itself. That's like DLC being more expensive than the base game. It's just weird. Anyway, we have more Spider Riders and more Goblin Warriors being brought out from Nemo. And he's also got Goblin Archers to help him support, which is very good indeed. That should help out. Oh yeah. The Goblin Archer is definitely going to help out, especially against the Wildmen. It looks like CatchMe's coming north with some pikes and Wildmen, while Nemo's going over here with some Spider Riders. Is he going to claim the ring? Just by accident? No? This is very curious. Okay, he realized that. Why would you do that? Switch to bow mode and attack a farm. Not very useful. Maybe he's taunting his enemy. Something tells me no, probably not. Because that would be a fatal mistake. But we'll see. So far, Isengard seems to be doing alright. But he's being pushed back currently into his base because he has forces in the west and in the north. And there are Spider Raiders here as well. Of course, they can't really deal with that, so they will not even try. Meanwhile, there is a pretty sizable force heading for the Goblin base. There's Goblin Warriors to intercept there. That is something Goblin Warriors excel at, just intercepting and trying to get in the way and take down as many as possible in the time they are on this earth. that's what they do. Of course, their damage isn't too bad. But then Poison Blades and War Chant and everything in between there. Pretty good. And it looks like CatchMe's army will be cleaned up here fairly nicely by Nemo. Ooh, those Exors are all alone. Where's he going? I forgot to finish him off. He does manage to get the rubble though. Nice. Let's look at pikes over here. The pikes are definitely helping out. Makes them at least safe from the Spider Riders, but the archers not so much. A couple of battalions of Goblin Archers seem to be doing quite good damage against it. It'll take a little bit of time to get rid of them, but at the same time, you gotta do what you gotta do. Seems the wargs are getting involved as well. This ward glare here. Which is not ideal if you're one person being bit by them. That was not a good charge by the Spider Riders, I feel. He just really sacrificed 2 battalions almost. I mean, this one will regrow, though, at the very least. So that's not too bad, I guess. But when you have one that's not level 2 yet, it's probably the best of ideas to charge pikemen with said guys. You could also turn them to bow mode and start just shooting down the pikemen while they run, if you wanted to. He's opting not to do that, though. So he's just going to charge through. I guess he could charge and then, before the pikemen turn around, get out of there. And that's exactly what he did. Very nice. Managed to get out of there with no casualties. It's not bad at all. Fort's not damaged at all. The base looks pretty safe. But so far, Spider Riders and Goblin Warriors and Goblin Archers for Goblins. And of course, Wildmen, Pikemans, and Wildman X-Throwers for Isengard here. No one's opting to go for anything else, but they are adding to what they have. Another clan setting has been thrown in. I almost called it a tavern. Every time I look at the building, I want to say tavern because of BFME2, but no. It is, of course, a clan setting. Because they can't make different models. Because reasons. Whatever. It's not really important, is it? What the hell you call it? Looks like Isen is poison there. But he will, of course, get this tunnel with ease. I wonder how good a warg army some wargs would be in this. Maybe not very useful. Maybe very useful. Maybe even just like a Sharku to chase around the Spider Riders could be good. Who knows? Because you can't really catch them, but Sharku would pretty well counter that, I think. But maybe not. Let's take a look at powers here. Looks like we have a Field of Fires, 80% resource for harvesting trees for CatchMeTun. Sure. Or Tune, I guess, could be. Or Caleb, of course, or Bionicle, whatever you want to call him. And of course we have Nemozey as a Awakened Worm, and he has summoned a Wildman done ready to be used as well. We have 475 command point limit for him. There's his Worm summon. As point, we have 825 for Isengard. Holy shit. 825. He's got almost... Actually, he might have double. Whatever the Goblins was. This is pretty crazy. Goblins definitely not anywhere near the economy of Isengard. And that might be his downfall eventually. This Isengard's economy, especially the Field of Fire, is going to keep him afloat, even if he does lose a few farms here and there. I think he'll do just fine. Looks like CatchMe's throwing up a few battle towers there. Also definitely help burn down the Worm a little bit quicker, and of course defend his base. The Worm is getting shit done. Clan settings aren't cheap. But I think with Isengard's economy, he'll be able to rebuild those with ease. It looks like... Oh, we do have a Sharku now. Nice. He did exactly what I was thinking. And that makes me feel better. Isn't it nice when a good player does what you think is a good idea? Even though you yourself, if you were playing, would probably never do that because you're just terrible. Like myself. I'm much better at thinking up ideas and strategies than I am actually implementing them, it turns out. But it's nice to watch a player do it, regardless. It looks like Nemo does have himself more Goblin Warriors and more Spider Riders. He'll probably send them to the death. Isengard seems to be growing in power. This is going to be impossible for a Spider Rider army to engage. So I think Nemo is losing in power here, but he does have shit all over Isengard's territory. And he's raiding here, he's raiding here. That's why he only has so much over there. He's raiding here as well. So Nemo's doing a great job splitting up his forces and attacking at all fronts, trying to get a lot of the economy and buildings and get some power points as well. Them Goblin power points win you games a lot of the time. They gain power points very quickly because they're always in combat with their spammable Goblin Warriors. So, of course, he's working his way towards a Balrog, as you would expect, I would imagine. Right? I think so. I think Worm is on the Balrog side, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think Watcher's on the other side. But I could be wrong. But I'm fairly sure I'm not. Anyway, he is working his way towards Balrog and continuing to do so. Looks like he's managed to get another furnace there. Might even get this one also. Although not Sharku has anything to say about it. Ooh, it's going to be close, actually. Nope, he saved that one for sure. Of course, these fuel the fires, these lumber mills are really putting in work. Very, very useful. And it looks like Isengard is still attacking goblins over here in the top left. We should get one of his tunnels there. Nemo's got to be hurting for tunnels. He's at 500. But that doesn't mean he has very many. Because I think once these upgrade, they actually start giving you more, of course. Increase command point limit, yeah they do. I knew that, I was just making sure. But he's definitely going to need more tunnels, and he is working on it, of course. Before Isengard takes that... I mean, look at these pikemen. They're killing it. They're hard to take down. If you got armor upgrades, they'd be very, very tanky. But of course, he's not really in a position to throw down an upgrade thing, I don't think. Maybe. He's almost at 15 power points, though. Which I believe... I think Field of Fires is actually 15, isn't it? So he might be heading for his 25. I can never remember. And of course, Goblins are at 17, getting very close to a 25-point power. Which could turn the game around entirely in Goblin's favor if he does manage to get a Balrog and shut down the base of Isengard and then follow it up with an attack. That could be very good. But we'll see if that happens or not. Sharku's still alive. He's up to level 4 now. He's got Blood Hunt, which doesn't really help him at all, in fact. He's got Tame the Beast, which of course doesn't help him at all in this matchup whatsoever. And Man-Eater does help, though, once he gets level 7. Sharku's basically useless powers until level 7, unless you're facing an Isengard or have cavalry with you. Otherwise, he's pretty worthless. We do have Freezing Rain going for Isengard there, which of course reduces enemy armor and damage, nullifies enemy leadership. It's pretty good. It'll make goblins drop like flies because their armor's already garbage. That should allow Isengard to overpower him pretty well. Looks like Nemo's attacking down here as well, and CatchMe is continuing to build stuff. CatchMe has a big base full of stuff, and his attack seems to be going well enough. Oh, he's getting a nice surround here on the Goblin Cave. He's going to start carving through these caves fairly rapidly. I think Nemo's in a bit of trouble here. How close is he to Balrog? Because he might need to use it defensively if he does manage to get one. He's slowly climbing up there. It's not too slowly, though. He only needs 3 more power points. And, of course, Isengard is climbing up there as well. He's up to 8 almost. But we'll see. Balrog may save the day for Goblins, or might not. But Isengard's definitely doing the damage. CatchMe is going to take out as much of Nemo's infrastructure as he can right now, allowing him to overpower his enemy. He's also continuing to build stuff, which is good. You want to keep your macro up while you're doing your micro on the battlefield, or else you'll run out of troops, as we all know too well. It looks like Isengard will be cleaned up here in the top. These builders are unemployed, laborers rather, not builders. Take a real in-depth look at a laborer. Oh, holding a log, eternal logging. It's not the life that you strive to live for, is it? I think not. Not until he builds another lumber mill, at least. It's called a labor camp. That sounds like something Hitler would do. A labor camp. Prison camp. Who knows? Anyway, Nemo is pushing across the ford now, once again. Does Tame the Beast work on these? That'd be most curious, wouldn't it? But they'd be pretty useless, I would imagine. Target wargs or warg riders? Those are wargs, so technically maybe it would. Down goes the Wildman Summit in the midst of the army of Isengard. Poison arrows being used there on old Sharku. He's still got a fair amount of life left though, so he'll be just fine. And these Wildmen seem to be getting cleaned up by the Isengard army fairly rapidly, thanks to the axe throwers. I think the Goblins' attack will be repelled, but not before a Balrog being summoned top of them. Fantastic. And with an epic explosion, Balrog has appeared. Durin's Bane! And now Nemo really needs to do as much damage as humanly possible to this Balrog and follow it up with a quick attack to make use of that. Or Isengard will just rebuild afterwards and then be right back in the game. So you just get rid of all these clan settings. These clan settings are expensive. They're fully upgraded as well. And it will slow down Catch Me extensively if he manages to get rid of them all. But I don't think... The problem Nemo's facing right now, even if he did send an army of Goblin Warriors, it's not going to be enough. He needs perhaps Fissure units or something. Maybe some Giants, maybe some Trolls. I don't know. Both players sitting on about 2K plus. Isengard is up to 15 power points. 10 more and he can get his 25. And of course, Balrog, of course, he's purchased for Goblins. And he got rid of a fair amount of Isengard's base. But it looks like Catch Me is building more. He's got another clan city being built over here. He's assaulting south here. He's assaulting through the middle here as well. And it looks like Nemo is also assaulting the base of him. Sharku's on the case. A little bit wounded as well. Nothing Sharku can't handle. And he's pushing up north as well to intercept the Goblin hordes. And he should overpower them with ease, of course. With the amount of money Isengard has, I think he'll be fine. Yeah, his economy is still booming, as where Nemo doesn't have Scavenger either, which is probably a big downfall for him, I'd say. Scavenger could have been pretty big here, allowing him to stay in the fight longer. He did get to the point of Balrog, but at the same time, was it worth it? I don't know. Perhaps. I think it actually probably would have been. But maybe he could afford better troops or something if he went for Scavenger and then use that. Was Worm's going to get a lot done. He's already got one building. He's changed targets because worms do that. They randomly change targets, which is pretty infuriating, to be honest. You just want him to burn down a clan setting and he just turns around for no reason. It's pretty annoying. He's got a mind of his own. He does manage to get that clan setting as well. And he's going to go for this also. It'd be good to get rid of this one, though. This one is level 2. But any Uruk pit gone is an Uruk pit saved. Or rebuilt elsewhere, I guess. Catch Me is going for an attack here on Nemo once again. Probably going to get this Goblin Cave without a doubt, in fact. How close is he to his 25? He's very close to his 25. Freezing Rain once again being activated as well. So the Goblins are going to have an even tougher time getting him out of there. To their weakened state. He's got 25. What is he getting? Is it Dragon or is it Dragon Strike? He's in the middle. He can go for Dragon or Dragon Strike. I'm curious to see what he will choose. He's chosen Dragon. That was probably the right choice, I would say. As Dragon can take out a base as well. And I think this will turn the game around for Isengard totally. Shutting down Goblins with that fire. Dragon fire. Goblins have nothing to counter that kind of stuff. He's finally throwing down a fissure. I think it's too late for Nemo. He's lost too much. His economy was already not as good as Isen's. And all Isen has to do is just push in and finish him off. And I think he will do that once he has a force ready to do so. We also have some spiderlings by Goblins there. And it looks like he has conceded. His fort is gone. And he's still alive somehow. There you go. Nemozey has been defeated, and Catch Me, or Bionicle, or Caleb, whichever you want to go by, has been victorious. So there you go. A nice little Isen versus Goblin matchup. A nice little 1v1, and it's nice to see how they managed to play it out. But well played to both those players, of course, and of course to Caleb for taking the victory. So that was a pretty good cast, I thought. Not the cast per se, but the pretty good game replay. The cast could have been whatever. Who knows? Anyways, hope you guys enjoy that, and we'll see you in the next cast of the Rise of the Witch King Patch 2.2 version 6. See you all next time.